On our wedding day, I used my billions in net worth to bind a system, hoping to reverse the fate of my terminally ill wife, but after marriage, she constantly complained about the hardships of life, calling me useless. When I caught her being intimate with her first love, she even poisoned me, trying to kill me. Without the system's support, it didn't take long for her illness to worsen, and she passed away. When I opened my eyes again, we both found ourselves reborn on our wedding day. This time, my wife tore off her veil, running away from the wedding to find her rich second-generation first love. What she didn't know was that without the system to extend her life, she was already on the brink of death. Chapter 1. 6 years later, I met my ex-girlfriend, Susanna, at a class reunion. I was parking my motorcycle outside the restaurant when I heard a cold snort from behind. "Isn't that Benjamin? After 6 years, you've really gone downhill. You're coming to a class reunion and riding a motorcycle." Turning around, I saw a Porsche Cayenne parked in front of me. It was Susanna sitting in the passenger seat, and driving was her first love, Dominic. Dominic looked me up and down with a mocking expression in his eyes but pretended to be gracious. "Susanna, don't say that. After all, Benja is just a small employee. It's normal that he can't afford a car. Don't hurt his pride." They had no idea that I did have a car, but today I couldn't pick up my daughter, so I had my driver take my car to do so. Since the reunion venue was nearby, I borrowed my assistant's electric motorcycle. Just as I was about to speak, Susanna had already gotten out, arm in arm with Dominic. Dominic wore a well-tailored black suit, gold-rimmed glasses, exuding a sense of wealth and sophistication. Susanna had styled her hair in waves and was dressed in high-end brands. Her chin tilted slightly upward, and her every gesture exuded nobility and elegance. Seeing my attire, Susanna's beautiful eyebrows immediately furrowed. "Benjamin, how come you don't even wear something decent to a reunion? If I didn't know any better, I'd think you were here to beg for money." "Sure enough, I was right to leave you 6 years ago. Without you and the shackles of family, I can fly higher and live better." Her lips curled upward in satisfaction, her eyes full of pride. I glanced down at my own attire, suit, tie, and leather shoes. Everything in place. It was just that I came straight from work and didn't have time to change, so my clothes were a little wrinkled. But it wasn't as bad as Susanna made it seem. Seeing that I remained silent, Dominic pushed his glasses up and smiled to ease the tension. "These days, as long as you work hard, there's nothing you can't achieve." Benja must have his reasons for being in such a situation, right? His words were full of sarcasm and mockery. "All right, Dominic. There's no need to waste time on insignificant people. Let's go inside and not keep our old classmates waiting." With that, Susanna, arm in arm with Dominic, arrogantly walked past me, holding their breath and speeding up as if I were some sort of filth. I chuckled, not bothered by their childish behavior, and followed them inside. Inside the private room, our old classmates were already seated, waiting for us. Seeing Susanna and Dominic, both dressed in designer clothes, the others immediately put on flattering smiles, eager to please. "Susanna, you're so lucky to marry a great guy like Dominic. Dominic is not only handsome but also successful and young. His future is limitless." During their flattery, they also casually mentioned me. Compared to Dominic, Benjamin seems a lot more down and out. I heard he's still just a junior employee now. Thank goodness Susanna escaped from the wedding back then and chose Dominic. Otherwise, she'd still be suffering with Benjamin. Their words brought back memories of the past. 6 years ago, Susanna and I were both reborn at the wedding. She regretted her decision from the past, and the first thing she did after being reborn was run away from the wedding to find Dominic. Everyone, including our friends and family, knew about it. Hearing them bring up the past, Susanna quickly tried to laugh it off, pretending it was nothing. Then, with a proud look on her face, she leaned against Dominic, squinting her eyes and playing with her newly done nails, casually showing off the diamond ring on her finger. I, however, remained indifferent, quietly taking out my phone to handle some work documents. Had it not been for my roommate insisting I attend, I wouldn't have come to this reunion at all. Seeing that I was unfazed, Susanna let out a cold snort, losing interest, and started calling for the waiter. "Why isn't the food here yet?" The waiter kindly explained. "It's being prepared. Please wait a moment." Half an hour passed, and Susanna's brows furrowed tightly, clearly losing patience. When the waiter brought out the food, she angrily tipped a bowl of soup over her head. "Why is it taking so long? Are you trying to starve us? With service like this, expect to be complained about." The waiter was so frightened, she started crying on the spot, unable to stand it. I put down my phone and went over to help the waiter. "Enough. This is too much." The waiter shot me a grateful look, but Susanna sneered and looked down at me from her elevated position. "You're sympathizing with a waiter? Of course, you're both just lowly workers, so naturally, you'd sympathize with each other. Earlier, you were so calm, I thought you didn't care about anything. Turns out it was all an act." The others also started mocking me, saying that I stood up for the waiter because I was jealous of how well Susanna and Dominic were doing. But I didn't care at all. What's there to envy? I'm very satisfied with my life. My wife is virtuous, my daughter is adorable, my career is successful, and my family is happy. What more could I possibly want? Susanna, however, seemed to have heard the greatest joke, scoffing. Satisfied? Well, it's a miracle you're even alive. People like you, who don't strive for anything, will always be mediocre no matter how many times you're reborn. Your future is hopeless. You and I are destined to never be a match. I nodded in agreement. That was true. We were never meant to be. In my previous life, I sacrificed my proud career and gave up a promising future to reverse her fate. This time, without her constraints, my career had clearly taken off. Seeing me nod, Susanna became even prouder, and smugly started bragging about that century wedding that she and Dominic were planning. Sure enough, there's a huge difference between people. Dominic has spent $30 million preparing a grand wedding for me. We're getting married in 3 months. Just the bouquet of imported roses at the wedding will cost more than your entire annual salary. Dominic is so generous. Susanna, you're really lucky. The others marveled in awe, and Susanna tilted her head high, her face full of pride. Clearly, she was enjoying the attention. I, however, couldn't help but sneer inwardly. She still didn't know that this time, without me to bind a system to extend her life, she wouldn't even make it to that wedding. Chapter 2. In my past life, both Dominic and I were suitors for Susanna, but in the end, she chose me. She thought I was more reliable than Dominic, and I promised to treat her well for the rest of my life, and I did. On our wedding day, I learned that Susanna was terminally ill, with only a short time left. In order to change her fate, I sacrificed my future and used my billions to bind a life extension system to her. After that, Susanna lived on in good health, but I, having exchanged my future for her life, kept missing out on opportunities and rising prospects. Each time there was a promotion or salary increase, it passed me by, and I remained a low-level employee. But despite all that, because of my hard work and dedication, our life, though not as luxurious as others, was comfortable. We bought a small house in the county, and for daily commutes, I used an electric scooter. It was modest, but at least we had a car and a home. Both our parents had retirement pensions, so we didn't have to worry about caring for them in old age. We had no children, so we didn't have the burden of raising them. Our life was simple but fulfilling and happy. But then, one day, Susanna casually saw her best friend flaunting her wealth on social media, showcasing her extravagant lifestyle. That's when Susanna became envious. She started complaining about how hard our life was, nitpicking and calling me useless. She even pressured me to try harder and improve, but it was pointless. To save her, I had already sacrificed my future, and this life of mediocrity was all I could offer. Eventually, Susanna grew more and more dissatisfied with me and secretly rekindled her closeness with Dominic, just because Dominic could buy her luxury bags and cosmetics, things I couldn't afford. When the truth came out, she poisoned me to death. As I lay dying, she looked at me with disdain and said, "Benjamin, if I could do it over, I'd never choose you again." After my death, without the system's support, Susanna quickly fell ill and died as well. So, when we were reborn, she immediately ran away from the wedding to find Dominic. I didn't stop her, I just watched coldly. She thought her choice this time was right, but little did she know, this was truly the point of no return for her. While I was lost in thought, Dominic had already given the waiter a generous compensation, bringing an end to the drama. Everyone started praising Dominic's generosity. Some even seized the opportunity to ask, "Dominic, I heard your company secured a collaboration with Penguin Group. Is that true?" Dominic smiled casually, but his tone was filled with pride and self-satisfaction. "It's just a small partnership worth a few tens of millions. Nothing special. A few tens of millions and it's just a small partnership." Only Dominic could afford to be so extravagant. As the others gasped in awe, their eyes also turned enviously to Susanna. Dominic wrapped an arm around Susanna and affectionately brushed her nose with his fingers. "By the way, this collaboration was actually Susanna's achievement. She's the one who negotiated it." Susanna couldn't stop smiling, her eyes narrowing with delight as she intertwined her fingers with Dominic's. "This is what happens when husband and wife work together. Nothing can stop us. Choosing the right partner can help you progress, but choosing the wrong one will only hinder your growth." As she spoke, she deliberately shot me a provocative glance, as if to announce her victory. I remained unfazed, even amused by her antics. I had never cared about her. It had always been her trying to compete with me. What she didn't know was that just a few days ago, I discovered a flaw in Dominic's collaboration plan. I had already unilaterally decided to cancel the deal. I casually dropped a hint. "Don't get too ahead of yourself." Whether the collaboration goes through is still uncertain. Susanna's face immediately darkened, her brows knitting together in anger. "Benjamin, what are you trying to say? Are you really going to pour cold water on our happiness? You're not even in the industry. What do you know? Or is it that you just can't stand seeing me and Dominic doing well? The others, eager to curry favor with Susanna, also chimed in to advise me. Come on, Benjamin. It's a rare reunion. Don't spoil the mood. We're all old classmates. There's no need to make things uncomfortable. Why don't you have a drink to apologize to Susanna and Dominic? Maybe, in the future, they'll help you out as a favor to an old friend. Before I could respond, they'd already filled my glass, leaving me no chance to refuse. Susanna glanced at the drink and snorted coldly. If you want to drink to apologize, one glass isn't enough. You'll need a whole bottle. With that, she shoved an entire bottle of liquor in front of me. I lowered my gaze. She knew full well I was allergic to alcohol. She was doing this just to mock me. I pushed the bottle away, glancing at Susanna. Her face was so pale that even her foundation couldn't cover it up. I smirked coldly. I won't drink, but you, Susanna, rather than wasting your energy trying to mock me, why don't you start worrying about yourself? After all, you're the one with the terminal illness. Your time is running out. Chapter 3. When I said this, everyone was stunned, their eyes wide in shock. What? Terminal illness? Susanna froze for a moment, then immediately rummaged through her bag and pulled out her medical diagnosis. She threw it in front of me with a sneer. You must be talking about stomach cancer, right? I didn't expect you to be so envious of my life, hoping I would die. But sorry, 7 years ago, my condition was already under control. I shook my head and smiled lightly. You're overestimating things. Susanna still underestimated the severity of a terminal illness. A terminal illness is incurable. Its cancer cells spread and metastasize relentlessly. 7 years ago, Susanna was diagnosed with stomach cancer. She underwent medication and chemotherapy, and for a while, I thought she had recovered, but later, she still appeared pale and weak, occasionally fainting or going into shock. It wasn't until I consulted the system that I learned the cancer cells had already metastasized to other organs during the treatment for her stomach cancer. In 7 years at most, Susanna would die from the failure of her other organs. That's why I agreed to the system's offer, sacrificing all my wealth and future to extend her life. I gave up everything to give Susanna a healthy body, but she was still unsatisfied, becoming vain, comparing herself to others, and longing for a more luxurious lifestyle. She wanted a better life, and I understood that. If she had just told me, I would have divorced her and set her free, but she shouldn't have betrayed our marriage, running off with Dominic, and after everything was exposed, she cruelly poisoned me. I snapped out of my thoughts to see Dominic holding Susanna in his arms, pretending to be magnanimous as he smiled at me. Benjamin, it's only natural for you to envy the good life Susanna and I have, but you shouldn't curse her just because you're jealous. We're about to have our wedding, and instead of giving us your blessings, you're trying to spoil things with bad luck. Dominic's words painted me as a petty and small-minded villain. Everyone in the room looked at me with disdain. Susanna has recovered, and Benjamin still says her time is running out. What a malicious thought. He's just bitter and jealous of Susanna's life, which is why he said that. He can't stand seeing her do well. Susanna was right to leave him. This kind of man is small-hearted and hopeless. No woman should marry him. When I didn't respond, Susanna's eyes once again filled with smug satisfaction. Since you're so envious of my life, I'll give you a chance. In 3 months, Dominic and I will hold our wedding, and you're invited to come. After all, this wedding is worth millions. You'll probably never have the chance to attend something like this again in your life. Susanna, you're so kind and magnanimous. Even after Benjamin said all that, you still invited him to your wedding. Benjamin, what are you waiting for? Don't you want to thank Susanna? I found it laughable. Whether or not this was the only wedding I would ever attend in my life, that was uncertain. But what I could be sure of was that Susanna wouldn't live long enough to hold her wedding. Just then, Susanna's phone rang. She grinned smugly, assuming it was the wedding planning company calling to discuss the details of her wedding. Since Benjamin will come, I'll tell them to add another seat. I'll have more lobsters and crabs delivered too. Benjamin, you're so lucky. If it weren't for my wedding, you'd probably never get to eat food like this in your life. To make sure everyone could hear the extravagance of her wedding, she deliberately put the phone on speaker. But to her surprise, it was the hospital calling. The voice on the other end was that of a doctor. Missin, your test results have come back. Your cancer cells have spread to your liver. You're now in the advanced stages of liver cancer. Chapter 4. Susanna's eyelashes fluttered, and her face instantly turned ashen. Her voice quivered as she spoke. Liver cancer, advanced stage. How could this happen? I cured my stomach cancer in the past. I was fine. How could I possibly have advanced liver cancer now? Before she could finish her sentence, Susanna suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Seeing the blood pool on the floor, she froze in place. The people around us were just as shocked by this sudden turn of events. I coldly looked at Susanna and stepped closer. Leaning down, I whispered softly to her, "Are you wondering why this is happening? Actually, you never really recovered from stomach cancer in the first place. The control you had over it was just the final flicker of life before death. You didn't die because I used everything I had, sacrificing my future to bind a life-extending system for you. In order to change your fate, I gave up everything, but you despised my mediocrity. Not only did you betray me, but you also killed me. So this time, you're going to suffer the consequences of your actions. Hearing this, Susanna stared at me in disbelief, her eyes wavering with doubt, but she still stubbornly refused to accept it. What life-extending system? You're just lying to me. She angrily shoved me away, shaking her head vigorously, unwilling to accept the reality. Advanced liver cancer. It's just a coincidence. The doctor made a mistake. Spitting blood. It's because I ate something too spicy. Nothing more. Seeing her desperately trying to convince herself, I found it amusing. Who eats something spicy and spits blood like that? But I was no longer the same Benjamin who would put her on a pedestal, sacrificing everything to save her. In my past life, I gave my heart and soul, but she ended up killing me. This time, I was letting her go her own way with Dominic, sealing her fate. Fine, believe what you want. I've said everything I needed to say. Seeing my indifference, Susanna tried to prove she was healthy by patting her chest, as if to show she was fine. See, I'm perfectly healthy. There's nothing wrong with me. But the next second, she suddenly spat out another mouthful of blood. This time, she was completely stunned. Her words caught in her throat. Seeing the blood on the floor, the others finally realized the gravity of the situation. They tried to get Dominic to help take Susanna to the hospital, but Dominic, claiming to be squeamish about blood, distanced himself and stayed as far away as possible. In the end, it was the others who had to work together to get Susanna to the hospital. Since there was still some time left, I followed along to watch the show. When Susanna regained consciousness, the first thing she saw was the doctor's helpless expression and a diagnosis confirming advanced liver cancer. Enraged, she spat out another mouthful of blood, staining the hospital bed. Dominic, looking at Susanna, now wore an expression tinged with disdain. I, on the other hand, stood there watching with amusement. Now do you believe me? Susanna immediately wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and grabbed Dominic, glaring at me like a petulant child. Benjamin, you just wanted to see the look on my face when I realized I had liver cancer, didn't you? I'll tell you, that's not going to happen. Even if I don't have much time left, I still have Dominic. He'll never leave me. The past 6 years with him have been the happiest time of my life. Unlike you, when I was with you, all I had was a miserable life. Instead of being with you and suffering, I'd rather die of cancer. At least I'll die free, without regrets. I smiled faintly. Is that so? Too bad. Your good days are coming to an end. Susanna shot me a cold glance. What do you mean by that? While she was still in the hospital, I had already called my assistant to cancel the partnership with the Bai family. As I was pondering, my assistant arrived with the prepared contract to terminate the cooperation. Before Susanna and Dominic could react, he directly handed the termination agreement to them. I've finally found you, Mr. Bai. Listen, there are issues with your proposal, and unfortunately, we cannot continue the cooperation. This is the termination contract. If you have no objections, please sign it. The people who had followed us to the hospital were all shocked by this sudden twist. Dominic staggered, his legs giving out beneath him. Susanna's already pale face turned even whiter, and her lips trembled. Terminate the contract? Why would you terminate the contract for no reason? Suddenly, it clicked for her, and she shot a murderous look at me. Benjamin, it was you, wasn't it? You mentioned at the dinner table that there were issues with our proposal. You're the one who sabotaged it, aren't you? What have you done? Are you happy now? Ruining my happiness. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. With great effort, she tried to get out of bed and staggered toward me, her claws aimed at me, but before her nails could reach me, my assistant stepped forward and blocked her path with a cold voice. Enough. Open your eyes and look clearly. The person standing in front of you is none other than the CEO of Penguin Group, Mr. Lin. Chapter 5. The moment my assistant spoke, the atmosphere in the room froze. Everyone's attitude toward me flipped 180 degrees. Where they had once been disdainful, now they were overly eager and polite. Benjamin, you've been hiding this well. Who would have thought you're actually the CEO of Penguin Group? I've always known you were different. Looks like you were born for wealth and success. That's right. All that talk at the dinner table was just casual banter. We were just messing around. Mr. Lin, please don't take it to heart. Dominic and Susanna were rooted to the spot, their mouths hanging wide open. It took a while, but Dominic finally forced a smile, bowing his back and rubbing his hands together as he approached me, wearing an overly flattering grin. Mr. Lin, I sincerely apologize for the offense I've caused before. I didn't realize who you were, but our Bai family really needs this cooperation, and we're willing to make the necessary changes to the proposal. Can you consider giving us another chance? Based on our old connection as classmates, he tried to extend his hand in an attempt to shake mine, but I simply sidestepped, avoiding any contact. Your proposal had problems, which already shows your lack of competence, and not to mention, You mocked us before the cooperation was even confirmed, treating us as inferior. That shows your lack of character. If your integrity is questionable, how can I trust you to work with us? So, no more need to speak. I won't be cooperating with you. With that, I turned to Susanna. Susanna, you always said it was me and our family that kept you trapped. But haven't you realized that I was just as much trapped? You're right. We really weren't suited for each other. In my past life, it was stupid of me to use my future to extend your life. Without you, I'll only be better off. Susanna didn't expect that I would be doing better than her in this life. The shock made her cough up more blood. Soon, the coughing became so severe that she was gasping for breath. Her vision darkened, and she fainted right there. Dominic, on the other hand, was frantic, pleading with my assistant to speak on his behalf. But my assistant, growing tired of his requests, kicked him away. The farce ended, and I turned to leave, heading home to be with my wife and daughter. As soon as I opened the door, two small bundles of joy, with their hair tied in pigtails, rushed toward me, calling sweetly, "Daddy, you're back. I missed you. Luna, my good girl, I missed you too." I scooped up my daughter, Luna, and Elise, my wife, took off my coat and gave me a warm smile. "You're home. You must be exhausted after a long day. Come sit and rest for a while." Seeing Elise and Luna, all my frustrations melted away. My heart softened in an instant. How lucky I am to have met them in this life. Elise and I met 6 years ago at Susanna's wedding. Elise had been the MC, and when Susanna ran away, Elise stepped in to cover for me, easing the awkward situation. We got to know each other from that moment, and later, I took her out to dinner as a thank you. During our conversations, I found Elise to be a gentle, thoughtful woman. Our relationship grew from there, and eventually, we got married and had our lovely daughter. In my previous life, Susanna and I had also discussed having children, but she didn't want them, claiming that childbirth would ruin her figure. I respected her decision and never pushed it, but seeing my colleagues with their happy families, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of envy. I longed to have a little bundle of joy call me daddy and snuggle in my arms. Now, everything I wanted had come to pass, and my life was perfect. After playing with Luna for a while, she got tired, and Elise suggested taking her to wash up and get ready for bed. While they were in the bathroom, the doorbell rang, and I quickly got up to answer it. When I saw who it was, my brow furrowed. "What are you doing here?" There stood Susanna, drenched in the rain, wearing a hospital gown, her eyes red from crying. Chapter 6. Despite the rain outside, I didn't let her in. We were strangers now, and I didn't want Elise to misunderstand. Seeing that I wasn't inviting her in, Susanna's face fell with disappointment. She looked up at me, choking on her sobs. "Benjamin, Dominic never truly cared about me. He only saw me as a plaything. After you left, he blamed me for ruining his cooperation, hitting and scolding me while I was still on and 4 drip. Then he broke up with me. He never loved me. Benjamin, now I understand how good you were to me." As she spoke, Susanna kept sneaking glances at my expression. When she saw my indifference, her lip trembled, and her eyes quickly filled with tears. "Benjamin, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have treated you like that in my past life. 6 years ago, I made the wrong choice. I shouldn't have run away from our wedding. I shouldn't have abandoned you. Please, give me one more chance. Just tell me, and I'll break up with Dominic right away. We can start over." "Okay." Susanna's voice grew more frantic as she spoke, tears falling from her eyes. She tried to rush into my arms, but I shoved her away forcefully. "There's no need. I was foolish in my past life, but I've learned my lesson. We were never meant to be. And didn't you always want Dominic? I gave you what you wanted. So why aren't you happy?" Seeing my resistance, Susanna's eyes reddened even more. She shook her head desperately, her eyelashes trembling. "But Benjamin, now I realize I love you. Is there really no hope for us? Can we never be together again?" I shook my head, speaking coldly. "No, there's no hope. And you don't love me. You only came back because you want me to save you. That's the only reason." Her face fell as she realized I'd seen through her motives. She opened her mouth to speak but couldn't find the words. After a long pause, she looked at me with tearful eyes. "Even so, can you really just watch me die? Benjamin, when did you become so heartless?" I chuckled softly, each word deliberate and sharp. "I learned it from you. Susanna, don't forget, I died because of you in my past life. Do you really think I'd save my enemy? Now leave. From the moment you betrayed me, from the moment you ran away from our wedding, we were finished. I have a new life now, and you are part of my past. Don't come back here again." Seeing my resolve, Susanna finally realized I wasn't bluffing. A flicker of panic crossed her face. "Benjamin, please, don't leave me." She still wasn't willing to give up. She rushed toward me, trying to grab my hand. At that moment, Luna, who had finished washing up, ran out from the house. She opened her arms wide, like a protective little mother hen, and stood in front of me, glaring at Susanna with an angry expression. "What do you think you're doing to my daddy?" Chapter 7. Hearing Luna call me daddy, Susanna visibly stumbled, her fingertips trembling. She called you Daddy. The next second, Susanna's voice shot up by an octave. Benjamin, how could you possibly have a child if you love me so much? I get it now. This is your adopted child, right? Her eyes were full of pleading as she looked at me, expecting me to deny it. Before I could speak, Luna, her face flushed with anger, raised her little fists and began to strike Susanna. Bad woman, you're lying. Luna isn't adopted. Luna is Daddy's daughter. After the shock, Susanna quickly started to comfort herself. Having a child doesn't matter. I can be her mother. Benjamin, we can raise this child together. I'm willing to do it. I was speechless, picking up Luna, who was stomping her feet in frustration, and comforting her. I then cast a cold glance at Susanna. Not needed. Luna already has her real mother. And yes, Luna is indeed my biological daughter. When I confirmed it aloud, Susanna froze, her eyes welling up with tears. Impossible. You're not even married. How could you have a daughter? Benjamin, you must be lying to me. I know you're angry because I ran away from our wedding, but I've already admitted my mistake. Before she could finish, I interrupted coldly. Who said I'm not married? Susanna, no one will wait around forever for you. Admitting your mistakes doesn't mean I have to forgive you. Susanna bit her lip hard, her sharp nails digging into her flesh. It was clear she couldn't accept this reality. I don't believe it. You loved me so much. You even gave up your future and your life for me. Just then, Elisa's gentle voice came from behind me. Hubby, what's going on? I smiled and pulled her close, affectionately ruffling her hair. It's nothing, honey, just an unimportant stranger. Seeing our sweet interaction, Susanna finally realized that I was genuinely married. Her eyes turned red with rage as she rushed toward us. You're really married? Benjamin, how could you do this to me? You said I was your only wife. I couldn't help but laugh. So, it's okay for you to run away from our wedding, but not okay for me to get married. You're too selfish. Elise recognized Susanna and smiled at her. I recognize you. You're my husband's ex-fiancée. I was the one who officiated your wedding. Remember? Actually, I should thank you. If you hadn't run away from our wedding 6 years ago, we might never have gotten together. We wouldn't have had Luna. So, thank you for making this possible. Elisa's words were soft, but they were laced with a sharp edge, like needles wrapped in silk. Susanna broke down in that instant, tears streaming down her face. She collapsed to the floor and, with a desperate cry, grabbed onto my pants leg, not letting go. Benjamin, I was wrong. I really regret it. Please, give me one more chance. This time, I'll love you properly. I kicked her away. This is the path you chose. You deal with it. And don't forget, you're still married to Dominic. You're a married woman. We both have families. Don't do anything disgusting. Susanna's eyes widened in disbelief, her face contorted with a mixture of pain and anger. She continued to sob, but I was unmoved. Get up and leave. You've already chosen your path, and now you have to walk it. Don't come back here again. Chapter 8. With that, I ignored Susanna's pleas and slammed the door shut, turning my back on her as I led Elise and Luna back inside without a glance. I let her cry in the rain, her eyes red and her voice hoarse, but I remained unmoved. Once inside, Elise seemed a little jealous. You went to a class reunion and your ex-girlfriend showed up at our doorstep. Looks like you've still got quite the charm. Benjamin, I knew Elise was feeling jealous, so I quickly smiled and reassured her. Don't worry, honey, I've long since given up on Susanna. Besides, she hurt me before, so there's no way I'll ever soften toward her. My heart belongs to you, and only you. Luna, looking a little offended, chimed in. What about me, Daddy? I immediately pulled Luna into my arms. Of course, there's you too. You and Mommy are the most important people in my life, and that will never change. After that day, Susanna never came to find me again. Instead, she started going after Dominic's company with a vengeance. Since she had been an executive at By Corporation, she had access to a lot of incriminating evidence about their illegal activities. After her breakup with Dominic, she sought revenge by bringing in reporters and exposing all the evidence. This included proof of By Corporation cutting corners, selling subpar goods, and falsifying financial records while embezzling public funds. Once the news broke, By Corporation was in turmoil. Their stock plummeted, the cash flow was severed, and many of their brand partners demanded to break contracts, seeking hefty compensation for breach of agreement. I was pleased to see it happen, since in my past life, Dominic had indirectly been responsible for my death. In this life, he was getting his just desserts at Susanna's hands. Under Susanna's relentless attack, By Corporation quickly collapsed, and Dominic was personally sent to prison by her. After all of that, Susanna came to me once more. At that time, Elise and I were waiting outside Luna's kindergarten to pick her up. When Susanna saw me, her eyes lit up, and she quickly ran to my side, speaking with self-pity. Benjamin, I've divorced Dominic, to get back at him for what he did. I even personally sent him to jail. He'll spend the rest of his life behind bars. Now you won't be mad at me anymore, right? But I had never been mad at her. I had already stopped expecting anything from her. Seeing my silence, Susanna forced a smile and took out a small red velvet box from her pocket. She opened it in front of me and presented the diamond ring, as if it were some sort of treasure. I truly understand now. Look, I even prepared a wedding ring for you, Benjamin. Let's forget the past and start over. Okay. Her loud declaration immediately drew the attention of other parents nearby, who began whispering among themselves, staring at us with curiosity. Isn't that Luna's dad? What's going on here? Is this woman his mistress? Is she trying to break up their marriage? I furrowed my brow, feeling a bit annoyed. I reluctantly took the ring from her. Seeing me accept it, Susanna's face lit up with a smile. Benjamin, I knew it. You still love me. But the next second, I coldly threw the ring away, my voice freezing. Don't you think this is too late? Whether you divorce or not, it has nothing to do with me. We're already over. I've built a new family, and I'm happy now. Don't come bothering us again. Elise, seizing the moment, tightened her arm around mine, clearly staking her claim. Susanna, Benjamin is my husband, and he will only ever be my husband. Stop torturing yourself. Don't come near us again. The other parents had now understood the situation and their looks toward Susanna shifted to contempt. They began mocking her, calling her shameless for trying to be the third party. Susanna's face turned bright red with shame, and her lips were so tightly clenched that they bled. In a fit of rage, she pushed Elise, venting her frustration. Shut up. What do you mean, your husband? Benjamin is my husband. You're just the woman who stole him from me. Everything you have now should have been mine. Seeing Elise being pushed, I finally lost my patience. I raised my hand and slapped Susanna across the face. Are you done causing a scene? Susanna, clutching her red face, looked at me in disbelief, hurt written all over her face. Benjamin, I love you so much, and you're hitting me for another woman. I immediately stepped in front of Elise, my voice firm and cold. This is not just any woman, this is my wife. Susanna completely broke down, her voice shrill as she screamed. How can you be so sure that she didn't marry you for your money? Benjamin, only I truly love you. Every other woman who gets close to you has bad intentions. I laughed coldly. Enough. Don't try to stir trouble between us, and don't think I won't sue you for defamation. Tingting is nothing like you. She's always been kind, and she knows how to understand me and love me. As for you, you don't know how to love, and you don't deserve my love. Susanna, I admit, I once loved you deeply. I loved you so much I would have given up everything for you, but you didn't cherish that. Now you have no right to regret it. Besides, the only thing you regret isn't losing me, it's that you made the wrong choice back then. By the end, my voice had become more impatient. Bottom line, it's over between us. If you keep bothering us, don't blame me for calling the police. Just then, Luna came running out of the kindergarten. I took Elisa's hand and picked up Luna, turning my back on Susanna as we walked away, not even giving her another glance. It was only then that Susanna realized she had completely lost me. She collapsed to the ground, sobbing in the wind, her eyes red and swollen. After that day, Susanna, full of rage, placed all the blame on Dominic. She paid off people in the prison to beat him severely. Dominic ended up losing all his teeth and had his legs broken. As for Susanna, it was said that she spiraled into deep despair, repeatedly attempting suicide, wanting to go back and redo everything. Once, she even jumped from the 18th floor, landing in a coma and becoming a vegetative state. Not long after, she completely lost her mind, constantly muttering the same words. I want to be reborn. I want to start over. After that, I stopped following Susanna and Dominic's news. I looked at Elise and Luna beside me, smiling happily. In this life, I had people I cared about and cherished. We would continue to live happily ever after. Late-stage liver cancer. Willow wants to make a movie to commemorate her idealized first love. She even asked me to be the male lead. I begged her, Willow, don't be so cruel. Don't let everyone know I'm just Daniel Wong's substitute. But she wouldn't listen, forcing me to take the role with iron-fisted methods. 5 months later, at the premiere of the movie Starlight, she was asked which scene impressed her the most. Willow reminisced. I have to say, Alex's affectionate gaze is somewhat like Daniel's. Her words almost made me laugh with tears. You should remember it well, because my eyes were unfamiliar and cold. That was the last time I loved you. Willow, let's get a divorce. Once a 3-time Best Actor winner, Daniel is dying. Willow Lu decided to make a documentary film for him, to record his brilliant and dazzling life, as the last gift to him. In the vast sea of people, out of hundreds of actors, there wasn't a single one that Willow found satisfactory. In her heart, Daniel was so radiant and noble that no one could compare. So, she came to me. I used to be a minor actor in the industry. Later, I was forced to leave the entertainment circle because of my resemblance to Daniel in appearance and temperament. And the person who forced me out was Willow, my wife. Alex, didn't you always want to make a name for yourself in the entertainment industry? Now, I'm giving you this chance. Willow threw the script into my arms, looking down at me as if she were bestowing a favor. She has always treated me this way, cold, arrogant, dismissive, even though she was the one who proposed to me. But she still felt that I was an obstacle between her and Daniel's love, but I agreed. After all, I also wanted to know what made this Daniel, whom fans called the starlight scattered among mortals, so different, that made my wife remember him for so many years. Agreeing to play the role of Daniel in the movie Starlight immediately caused a storm on the internet. Many people couldn't understand why an obscure actor who had retired from the industry would be chosen to play the role of Daniel, a 3-time Best Actor winner. They simply didn't believe that I could perfectly portray this deep and charismatic character. Some even dug into my past. They uncovered everything about my time as a bit part actor in the entertainment industry 5 years ago, especially the part about why I left the industry. 5 years ago, I was a bit part actor in Hengdian. Although it was tough, I received a lot of praise from directors. One director once praised me, saying, "Even though you're just playing a small role with one shot, you still treat it seriously and bring life to the character. You're a good seedling for an actor, Alex. This vast entertainment industry will surely have a place for you sooner or later." But I never got my big break. Willow suddenly appeared in front of me and signed a 10-year contract with me. She was the CEO of the biggest film company, and all the artists under her company were well known in the industry. So when she handed me a thick stack of contracts, I was overjoyed. I thought that finally, someone had discovered this pearl covered in dust and would let me shine one day. But I was disappointed. Willow didn't genuinely believe in me. She just didn't want someone who looked like Daniel and had comparable acting skills to remain active in the industry. She didn't want anyone to pose a threat to Daniel. Even if the threat never materialized, she wanted to prevent it preemptively. So, within less than 2 years of signing with Willow's Wong Company, all my news was negative. Being a diva, disrespecting seniors, humiliating extras, and so on. Although none of it was serious, it ruined my little remaining public support. At that time, I didn't know that everything was orchestrated by Willow, and I was still worried about how to explain myself to my mentor. But Willow extended her hand to me at that time. "Alex, it's okay. If you can't stay in the entertainment industry, you can stay by my side. I know you like me, and I like you too. Alex, let's get married." So, I left the entertainment industry and became Willow's husband. A husband in name only, known by very few people. My scandals were exposed, and there was a backlash on the internet against me playing the role of Daniel. For a time, it caused quite a stir. The name Alex became more famous than my years of struggling in the entertainment industry. Willow was very angry. She printed out some online comments and threw them in my face. "Alex, you're useless. I gave you a chance, and you blew it. Useless." She didn't hesitate to curse at me. "I warn you, if you mess this up, I'll make you regret it." I bent down and picked up the scattered papers one by one. I looked at her coldly. "Willow, you know best where these scandals came from, because you were the one who orchestrated it all to end my career." Willow's angry face immediately darkened. She turned to look at me, her eyes filled with coldness. "Alex, since you know my methods, you better behave. Otherwise, I'll make sure you become a pariah, hated by everyone." I couldn't help but laugh softly. "Willow, don't forget, who needs who now? I can refuse to take this movie and still live off you. You know, I don't care about other people's opinions. Otherwise, I wouldn't have given up the chance to clear my name 3 years ago and willingly become the man behind Willow. The term living off a woman is really unpleasant, but because I loved Willow, I accepted it all. But some people never know what's good for them. Willow and I didn't meet just 5 years ago. I knew her, liked her, much earlier than she imagined. In fact, we were college classmates. She was the shining star in the crowd, always drawing attention wherever she went. So she never noticed me in the crowd, accustomed to admiring gazes. No matter how many times we passed each other, her eyes never saw me. That one time, Willow's scarf was blown away by the wind and landed in front of me. When I picked it up and handed it back to her, she smiled at me. "Thank you, classmate. You're welcome." Just 5 words, but they stayed with me for a long time. When I tossed and turned at night, I always thought of her smile. After graduation, I dove into the entertainment industry, chasing my acting dream. A year later, she graduated, returned to her family business, and became the CEO of the largest entertainment company. Years later, when we met again, Willow had already forgotten me. When she saw me, there was a moment of amazement and surprise in her eyes, but it lasted only a moment. "Alex, I've seen your performance. It's good. Would you like to sign with my Wong Company?" I said, I would, because I had another dream. Later, scandals about me emerged one after another. As a minor actor without resources, I could no longer stand in the entertainment industry. That day, I sat on the rooftop of the company, blowing in the cold wind, smoking cigarette after cigarette. It was then that Willow opened the rooftop door and walked to my side against the wind. The wind lifted her beautiful long hair as she took the half-burnt cigarette from my hand, took a light puff, and blew out a beautiful smoke ring. When the cigarette burned out and the last ember died, she turned to look at me. Alex, do you like me? Some people think they hide their feelings well, not knowing they've already been seen through. For a moment, I didn't know how to respond. The words brewing in my heart became tangled and stuck in my throat. After a moment of strange silence, Willow stood in front of me. Her gaze was intense and burning, and at that moment, I saw deep affection in her eyes. She hooked her arm around my neck and kissed my lips. Alex, it's okay. If you can't stay in the entertainment industry, you can stay by my side. I know you like me, and I like you too. Alex, let's get married. At that moment, my mind went blank. The tender dream I had chased for many years was now standing in front of me, telling me in a gentle and seductive voice, she wanted to marry me. The wind blew into my eyes, making them sting a little. I said, okay. After many years, I finally caught my dream. When I got home, Willow was not there. In the brightly lit villa, there was only emptiness and solitude. It was very quiet, quiet enough to hear my heartbeat. In the early days of our marriage, Willow and I were in love for a while. I would make her a sumptuous breakfast every morning and prepare her clothes for going out. She would praise my cooking and the way I matched her clothes, and then give me a deep kiss before leaving. In the evenings, I would sit on the couch waiting for her to come home, and after her social engagements and drinking, I would bring her a glass of honey water. She always wrapped her arms around my neck, nuzzling against it, and said, Alex, it's so good to have you. But now, in this once warm home, Willow had not been back for a long time. Since the day Daniel returned to the country, it had been 3 months. I just didn't expect Willow to come back today. The moment the door opened, Willow was already drunk. Staggering, she took off her high heels and walked quickly towards me. Alex, why does Daniel have this disease? Her cold hand touched my cheek, her blurred eyes staring at my face for a long time before she spoke softly. You two look so much alike. Why isn't it you who has to die? Silence fell. At that moment, my heart ached so much that I couldn't breathe. After a moment of standoff, I pushed Willow away. It's really a pity. Willow, I will live well, and your beloved Daniel will be tormented by disease and die horribly. Maybe Willow cared too much about Daniel. Even though she was already dazed with drunkenness, she still sobered up when she heard Daniel's name. She slapped me hard, tears welling up in her eyes. Alex, how can you be so cruel? Willow spoke with a choked voice. The woman who had always been strong was shedding tears at this moment. I never thought that Willow and I would end up in such a miserable situation. 3 years of marriage, a period of love, ultimately left us only with resentment. I looked coldly at Willow. Her concern for Daniel filled me with unprecedented jealousy and anger. I approached her, becoming extremely harsh for the first time. Willow, stop dreaming. You will never be with Daniel. He's dying. People with liver cancer die emaciated and unrecognizable, horribly. Willow, soon you will only be able to visit him in the cemetery. Willow's expression turned angry bit by bit in front of me. Bang. A sharp pain shot through my head, followed by a wet sensation spreading from the top down. The taste was incredibly metallic and sweet. Willow looked at the ashtray in her hand in shock, the red blood staining it. It was the blood from my head. Willow had hit me with the ashtray from the coffee table. She frantically dropped the ashtray, helplessly clutching my sleeve. At this moment, her drunkenness dissipated, and she was very sober. Alex, are you okay? I didn't mean to. She started to cry. I didn't mean to. You shouldn't have provoked me with Daniel's life and death. The hot blood flowed to my eyelids, hanging on my lashes, making my eyes tremble. I didn't say anything. I had nothing to say. The greatest sorrow is when the heart dies. At this moment, I truly understood it. In the hospital, the nurse carefully bandaged my wound. Seeing my tightly pressed lips, she said, if it hurts, just say it. Don't hold it in. I shook my head slightly, just sitting quietly. The pain in my heart couldn't be soothed by any medicine. Ever since I knew that in Willow's heart, there was only one Daniel, and I was just a substitute she obtained through manipulative means, my heart had become numb. Sitting on the hospital bed, looking at the ink-like night outside the window, I couldn't help but feel sorrow. Unconsciously, I thought of my past days. My father died early, and my mother, suffering from illness, left me when I was 15, unable to escape the torment of disease. As she lay dying, she tightly held my hand, her eyes already lifeless. Alex, living is too painful. Mom can't hold on anymore. Live well. Don't blame Mom for being cruel and leaving you. After graduating from college, I went to Hengdian to be a bit part actor. No matter what kind of role, I always treated it with utmost sincerity, even without a single line, even just a back view, even a fleeting shot. Nothing stopped my passion for acting. That's how I worked for 3 years. Although it was hard, I enjoyed it. Every different role allowed me to experience different lives. At that time, The boxed lunches tasted pretty good. Later, Willow found me. I thought it was the end of my hardships, but I fell into an unfathomable abyss. It destroyed my love and my career. I didn't notice when Willow entered the ward. It wasn't until the night breeze at the window made me feel cold that I closed the window and turned around. Willow was standing behind me, holding my medical report in her hand. She trembled as she handed the report to me, even her voice trembling. "Alex, you're O positive blood." I frowned. I couldn't understand Willow's expression, whether it was surprise or shock. I took the medical report. It detailed my condition. Mild concussion, but nothing serious, just needed a few days of rest. So I didn't understand why Willow looked so shocked. I ignored Willow and quietly lay back on the bed. I don't know why. That night, Willow stayed quietly by my bedside, not sleeping all night. A mild concussion is not a big deal, but Willow, surprisingly, took it seriously. Ignoring my protests, she insisted the doctor conduct a comprehensive examination on me. In the following days, she behaved unusually gentle towards me. "Alex, the doctor said you need to eat more fruits. I've already peeled an apple for you. Eat it." Her eager gaze showed no trace of pretense. For a moment, I thought we had returned to the early days of our marriage. Back then, Willow looked at me with such tenderness, but ever since Daniel returned, that look was no longer mine. However, I soon discovered the reason behind Willow's sudden change. That day, Willow went out with the doctor. She returned to the ward absent-mindedly 2 hours later. Willow sat by my bed in silence for a long time. Her eyes were heavy with sorrow. "Daniel's illness is flaring up more frequently. He doesn't have much time left." I raised an eyebrow. Indifferent. Daniel had liver cancer but couldn't find a suitable liver donor, leading to severe deterioration. He didn't have much time left. Everyone knew this. There were even fanatics who tried to donate their own livers to save Daniel, but none matched. It seemed his fate was destined to be a young and tragic death, forever remembered as a white moonlight. Willow was silent for a moment again. "Alex, your liver is a match for Daniel's." It felt like a bomb exploded in my head, leaving me in chaos. After a moment, I came back to my senses. No more words were needed. I understood her meaning. I stared at Willow's beautiful face for a long time, then spoke calmly. "So, Willow, the past few days weren't about giving me a full checkup, but about matching my liver to see if it could be transplanted to Daniel, right?" At this moment, jealousy and sorrow intertwined in my heart, and I couldn't help but shed tears. It was my first time crying in front of Willow, and it would be the last time. Willow looked up at me but couldn't help avoiding my gaze. "Alex, it's just a liver donation. It won't have much impact on you. But without your liver, Daniel will die. Alex, I promise you, if you're willing to donate your liver, I will be wholeheartedly devoted to you and never have any contact with Daniel again." I placed my hand over my liver. For some reason, I felt a faint pain there, and my heart ached too. I looked into Willow's eyes. "Willow, a liver transplant carries risks. I might die too. Have you thought it through?" Willow hesitated, pressing her lips together in silence for a long time, but eventually nodded. The breath I had been holding finally let out. She knew everything, yet she still chose to risk my life to save another man. Then, I had nothing more to worry about. I shook my head. "No, I'm not willing. Willow, I will never donate my liver to Daniel. Give up on this idea." I refused to donate my liver to Daniel. To my surprise, Willow didn't press the issue. Instead, she quickly proceeded with the film's opening ceremony and began shooting. Perhaps seeing my confusion, Willow gave a bitter smile. "The liver is yours if you don't want to. No one can force you. Alex, you're my husband. I won't force you to do anything you don't want to do. As for Daniel, maybe it's true what they say online, that he's a star meant to stay in the sky, not on Earth for long." Willow handed me the script and continued. "Alex, I hope you can use all your skills to perfectly portray Daniel." She paused, her voice choking a bit. "You've already read the script." Daniel truly was a very, very good person. She wasn't wrong about that. From the script, I learned that Daniel was indeed a good person. He certainly lived up to the title of the starlight scattered among mortals. Daniel was born into an ordinary family and originally had a happy life. But one day, his younger brother was kidnapped by traffickers, shattering their happy family. While searching for his younger son, his father had an accident and died on the spot. His mother, devastated by the loss of her younger son and husband, had a mental breakdown and committed suicide by poisoning herself. This left 10-year-old Daniel alone and destitute. Daniel, who lost his entire family, grew up on the kindness of others, enduring many hardships to eventually become a 3-time Best Actor winner. Despite his fame and success, Daniel never gave up searching for his lost brother. He founded the Come Home Foundation, dedicated to reuniting lost children with their families. He once said, "I hope that one day, I can find my long-lost brother among these children. And I also hope that those who have lost their families like my brother can one day reunite with their loved ones." I do what I can, hoping everyone can be reunited with their family. Many people shed tears when he said this. Every single time, when attending events, Daniel would bring a torn and blurry photo of a child, choking up as he pleaded for anyone with information to come forward. He even said that if he found his brother, he would donate all his wealth to charity. But despite struggling in the entertainment industry for over a decade, there was no news of his brother. And now, he himself had liver cancer and didn't have long to live. It was indeed tragic, making people sigh and feel a deep sense of pity. Honestly, being given the role of such a noble character made me feel deeply honored. I looked at Willow, ignoring the tears in her eyes. Don't worry, portraying every role well is a basic quality of an actor, and I am a professional actor. The shooting progressed unusually smoothly. However, Willow came every day to personally oversee the production. She would sit by the camera, carefully watching every take of mine. Occasionally, I would hear the crew discussing Willow and Daniel's love story in private. Oh my God, I've always heard about Miss Lu and Emperor Wang's story, but I never thought it was true. A love between life and death. It's so touching. Isn't it? It's just a pity that Emperor Wang doesn't have much time left. Ah, the sweet moments in the midst of heartbreak. But I'm curious, why didn't they get together sooner? Right, Alex. Since Miss Lu handpicked you, do you know any inside story? They didn't know that I was Willow's legitimate husband, so they didn't avoid speaking in front of me and even wanted to discuss it with me. I closed the script and smiled. I don't really know. In truth, I did know. Although Daniel made his mark through talent and became an emperor through skill, a large proportion of his fans were girlfriend fans who treated him like a boyfriend. He feared that being in a relationship would lose him fans and hinder his career, so he never broke through the ambiguous relationship with Willow. Once, when a drunk Willow hugged me, she called out Daniel's name. Daniel, I won't be a hindrance to your career. If you don't want to be with me, I'll wait for you until you're willing. Daniel, I'm willing to do anything for you, including marrying someone else. Daniel, anything you want, I'll give you. From the first time you saved me, I've only liked you. This scene was also in the script. The lonely Daniel couldn't afford school and wandered around society. A young and beautiful Willow was harassed by a drunk hooligan, and it was Daniel who helped her, even beating the hooligan until his head was bleeding. He held her hand and ran wildly through countless streets and alleys, finally stopping by the sea bathed in the sunset glow. The boy and the girl smiled at each other, leaving an indelible mark in each other's hearts. Later, all of Daniel's school expenses were sponsored by the Lu family, and Willow provided many resources, both overtly and covertly, to help him become a 3-time emperor. Seeing that I wasn't interested in discussing Willow and Daniel's love, they wisely changed the topic. Alex, your acting is really good. When the movie is released, you're sure to become famous. Yes, speaking of which, you really resemble Emperor Wang with similar looks and temperament, and your acting is equally good. If you had become famous earlier, maybe some of his 3 awards would have gone to you. Willow walked over and sat beside me, causing the 2 extras to hurriedly leave. Willow handed me a bottle of water. Alex, if one day you couldn't be an actor anymore, what would you choose to do? A sudden question made me turn to look at her. Willow, haven't you known the answer for a long time? 3 years ago, when she destroyed my acting dream, she knew my choice. Willow was momentarily shocked. So, you would still stay by my side, right? But I coldly replied, no, I wouldn't. Willow, let's find a time to get divorced. I threw the script open to the part where Willow and Daniel first met into her lap. Hold on to your love story. Stop disgusting me. I never expected that Willow would once again use despicable means to frame me. When the film was halfway through shooting, large-scale leaks of recordings and documents showing my refusal to donate my liver to Daniel began to spread online. The recordings were edited and clipped, resulting in this. No, I'm not willing. I will never donate my liver to Daniel. Give up on this. Daniel will be tormented by illness and will die horribly. People with liver cancer die emaciated and unrecognizable. Horribly. I will live well. This time, I faced unprecedented online harassment. Not only did it force the film's shooting to be suspended, but some crazy fans even tracked my whereabouts and threw rotten eggs at me on the street. I had no choice but to stay behind closed doors, and the film's shooting came to a halt. Now, Willow was sitting on the soft sofa in front of me, leisurely drinking coffee. She was gently rubbing the expensive jade bracelet on her wrist, her tone as if discussing a trivial matter. Alex, now that things have escalated, do you know what you need to do? She looked up at me, a slight smile on her lips. If you don't agree, the consequences might be unbearable. On the coffee table was the contract for the film, Starlight, clearly stating that if the filming couldn't be completed due to reasons caused by Party B, a breach of contract fee of $50 million was to be paid. Yes, I didn't have $50 million, and I couldn't afford such a huge penalty. I looked at Willow seriously. You edited and released the recording online, and stirred up public opinion just to force me to donate my liver to Daniel. Willow, you really are devoted to Daniel, even using such despicable means. Willow's face turned noticeably pale. Alex, you forced me. If you had agreed from the start, I wouldn't have treated you this way. Daniel doesn't have much time left. I couldn't wait to slowly persuade you. Alex, I still mean what I said before. As long as you save Daniel, I will be wholeheartedly with you. Even if you have any after effects, I will take good care of you. You are my husband, and you don't have to do anything to enjoy the best life. What more do you want? She paused, placing a tablet with the trending searches in front of me. Look, now you're infamous. If I don't help clarify things, you will never be able to act again and will be a pariah. Alex, you have no choice. I picked up the cold tablet, watching the continually updating insults, feeling my heart grow colder bit by bit. In the end, I agreed. Okay, Willow, I'll do it, but I want to wait until after Starlight is released to have the surgery. You know, liver transplant surgery has risks. I might die. This might be my last work. Willow was silent. She seemed unwilling to wait any longer. I sneered. Willow, if you don't agree to my condition, then forget about getting my liver for Daniel. Eventually, Willow agreed to my request. After all, the film was more than halfway done, and with day and night work, it could be finished within a month. Willow had money and plenty of staff under her command. This wasn't difficult for her, I had to admit. Willow was very resourceful. The next day, she released a recording proving that the previous recording circulating online was maliciously edited. Of course, this new recording was also fake. With the help of her online influencers, the public opinion turned around within a day. The trending topic became hashtag feeling sorry for Alex wrongly accused hashtag, and I quickly returned to the set and resumed shooting. Willow continued to visit the set daily. However, her attitude changed. Previously, she demanded perfection in every take, but now she only cared about speed. With such intense shooting, as she wished, the filming was completed and edited within a month. The rough cut of the film was completed. To accommodate Daniel, Willow decided to take me to the hospital to watch it with him. In the private hospital's exclusive ward, Daniel lay on the bed, his breath weak and tubes all over his body. When he saw Willow, his eyes moved slightly, and he weakly raised his hand. Willow, you're here. Willow quickly stepped forward and held his hand. Don't move. Just lie down and rest. It was then that Daniel noticed me. I could tell he was surprised when he saw me. It's rare to find someone who looks so much like oneself. He smiled at me. Alex, right. Nice to meet you. Honestly, I had a certain amount of genuine admiration for Daniel. A few years ago, when I was still a bit part actor in Hangdian, I regarded him as my idol. I also fantasized about one day sharing the screen with him, but things didn't go as planned, and we always missed each other. I bowed to Daniel. Mr. Wong, nice to meet you. After watching the rough cut, Daniel's eyes were wet with tears. Good, very good. Willow, thank you for fulfilling my lifelong dream. I never thought I would one day be the protagonist in a film. Willow also choked up. Daniel, you deserve it. Be strong. In a few days, Willow hesitated. Daniel, you'll get better. In the spacious ward, there were many staff members, but at that moment, I felt exceptionally lonely and pathetic. They were moved by the love between Willow and Daniel, while I, the legitimate husband, was just an outsider. After leaving the hospital, Willow pulled me aside. She seemed annoyed. Alex, why do you still want a divorce? I've agreed to be with you wholeheartedly. What more do you want? I sneered. It seemed she had just received the court summons. Earlier, my request for a divorce was rejected by Willow, so I had to file for divorce. Willow, I've changed my mind. I want to add one more condition. If you want me to donate my liver to Daniel, you have to agree to divorce me. Willow lowered her head, lost in thought. I thought she would compromise for Daniel, but she took a deep breath and softly said, No, Alex, I won't divorce you. She looked up at me, holding my hand tightly, speaking earnestly. Alex, after this is over, let's start over and be together properly. Okay. Alex, you have a place in my heart. Start over. How could we start over? Some things, once they happen, are irreparable, and no one can change that. I looked at Willow's face. She was as beautiful as she was at 18, but the innocence in her eyes had long been replaced by calculation. She was no longer the same person, and our long yet brief 3-year marriage was an accident. And not being on the same path means we will part ways eventually. I wasn't sad. I only felt regret. Regret that the girl I cherished for so many years was no longer the same. Regret that the love I gave wholeheartedly was just an illusion. Regret that we never truly loved each other. I pulled my hand away from Willow's tight grip and firmly shook my head. No, Willow, my love for you died when you chose to hurt me over and over again for Daniel. At the Starlight premiere, I went on stage as the lead actor to give a speech. The densely written 2 pages were the speech Willow had personally written for me. She said, Alex, the filming has been exhausting. Leave everything else to me and just rest. Willow seemed to be trying to win me over. From the time we returned from the hospital to the week leading up to the premiere, she was with me almost every day. She even cooked a large meal for me herself. Seeing my surprised expression, her face, devoid of makeup, showed some nervousness as her hands unconsciously clenched her apron. We've been married for years, and I've never cooked for you once. Alex, I will be a good wife from now on. I didn't eat that meal. I threw it all into the trash. It's useless. Willow, I won't be soft-hearted anymore. Willow, divorce is the only topic we can discuss now. Willow held back her tears and turned upstairs. She still refused to face the divorce issue. I thought, perhaps she wanted to use marriage and love to bind me, to make me willingly donate my liver to Daniel. What a pity. I doubt there's such a fool in this world. The dazzling flashlights pulled me back from my thoughts. I casually threw the 2 pages into a nearby trash can and strode onto the stage. It was the first time I had been surrounded by so many people and so many lights. I smiled and took the microphone. First of all, thank you all for coming to the premiere of the film, Starlight. I am very honored to be part of this excellent film. After a brief speech, I paused. Regarding some rumors about me recently, I want to clarify a few things. Willow's face turned pale, and she whispered angrily, Alex, don't say anything nonsensical. There's no need to mention things unrelated to the film. To promote the film, Willow had invited almost all the media. If anything happened, it would be difficult to control the situation, no matter how much money she had. But what I wanted was an uncontrollable situation, especially since this was a live broadcast. Ignoring Willow's angry expression, I played a video on the big screen. It was the conversation between Willow and me at home, where I was forced to agree to donate my liver to Daniel. Willow tried to rush to change the video, but she was surrounded by countless reporters and couldn't get free. A reporter shoved a microphone in Willow's face. Ms. Lou, according to the video, you and Alex are married, right? So how do you explain your relationship with Mr. Wang? Ms. Lou, was the rumor about Alex refusing to donate his liver to Mr. Wang a tactic to force Alex? The video mentions using such despicable methods again. Does this mean you've used similar tactics to frame Alex before? Why would you treat your husband this way? Ms. Lou, did Mr. Wang know about you forcing Alex to donate his liver? Or was it a joint effort? If the surgery goes wrong and something happens to Alex, will you be with Mr. Wang? The overwhelming questions left Willow gasping for breath. It took the security team a while to separate her from the reporters. Willow strode onto the stage, glaring at me. Alex, you're playing this game with me. I laughed derisively. Willow, you taught me this. I'm just treating you the way you treated me. She could record audio. I could record video. After being set up twice by her, how could I not be on guard? When I agreed to the deal with Willow, I had already set up hidden cameras, and this premiere was the perfect opportunity to reveal the truth. Willow was almost choking with rage but had to swallow her anger in front of the media. Alex, things happened too suddenly. The huge crystal chandelier in the center of the stage suddenly fell, crashing straight toward me. Everyone held their breath. Some even quickly closed their eyes, not daring to witness the tragedy. My mind went blank, but I still pushed Willow, who was closest to me, out of the way first, before the pain overwhelmed me. I saw Willow's face, pale with shock. I seemed to hear her heart-wrenching scream, Alex. But Alex could only close his eyes in pain and despair. Side Story Willow. Chapter 1. The Starlight premiere has been the hottest topic recently, maintaining its high profile for a week, but I had no time to care about public opinion. All I wanted was to stay outside Alex's hospital room, closely watching the heart rate monitor, afraid that in a blink, it would turn into a long, flat line. 3 days and nights. It had been 3 days and nights since Alex was knocked unconscious by the chandelier. I had also been thinking for 3 days and nights. I couldn't understand why Alex would risk his life to save me. He had clearly given up on me, wanting a divorce, to leave me forever. I waited outside the ICU for 3 days, until Daniel's assistant came to find me. He said Daniel was having another episode, in so much pain that he nearly wanted to end his life. I had no choice but to leave Alex's room and go to Daniel's. He was indeed in agony. The tubes were pulled out. His lips were pale, his eyes vacant. When he saw me, he called my name in pain. Willow, I'm in so much pain. Willow, I'm scared. I'm scared of what will happen to you if I die. I poured him a glass of water and carefully helped him drink it. Don't be afraid, Daniel. I will always be with you. After drinking the water, Daniel slowly calmed down. He held my hand tightly, his eyes filled with longing and hope. Willow, when can I get the liver transplant? I'm in so much pain. I can't bear it anymore. I froze. Involuntarily, I thought of Alex lying in the ICU, his fate still uncertain. Daniel seemed to see through my hesitation. He leaned his weak body against mine. Willow, you are my only family. You are the most important person to me. If even you won't help me, then there's no point in living. His eyes grew dimmer and dimmer. Willow, from the first time I met you, I was attracted to you. I fantasized countless times about walking down the aisle with you. We would have a son and a daughter, living a happy life. But before, I was unknown, unworthy of you. So I worked extra hard, just hoping to one day stand by your side. Unfortunately, the day came, but I got liver cancer. Willow, why does heaven play such cruel tricks, keeping lovers apart? For some reason, every word Daniel said made my heart ache. It seemed I really couldn't bear the pain of losing Daniel. I pressed my pale lips together. Daniel, wait a bit longer. Alex is still in critical condition, so we can't perform the surgery yet. Daniel slowly sat up straight, his eyes like a dead lake, his tone indifferent as if stating something inconsequential. It's okay, Willow. You are Alex's wife. You can choose to give up on him, and then we can immediately proceed with the liver transplant. He turned to look at me. Willow, for me, you would be willing, right? At that moment, I felt a chill down my spine. Only now did I understand that I didn't really know the man I had loved for so many years. Chapter 2. What happened at the premiere, I thought was an accident. I didn't expect my assistant to find something suspicious. She pulled me aside to a secluded place and whispered, Miss Liu, after investigating, it was found that the screws holding the crystal chandelier were loose, causing it to fall. But, the day before the incident, I saw Mr. Wang's assistant sneaking around the site. He was acting very suspiciously and had a ladder. My assistant said a lot, making my head buzz. Thinking about Daniel's words, it was hard not to overthink. I took a deep breath, investigate quietly, and don't alarm anyone, including Daniel and his people. My assistant stared at me for a moment, then nodded. Miss Liu, there are some things I really shouldn't say, but at this point, I can't keep quiet. All these years, everyone has seen how much you've done for Mr. Wang, but have you ever noticed what Alex has done for you? I realized I hadn't really looked at Alex. At first, a director recommended him to me, saying he was a great prospect, and he would eventually have a place in this flashy entertainment industry. So I went to Hengdian. He was indeed remarkable, even playing a ragged beggar with a dirty face. His noble spirit shone through, especially those dark and bright eyes, surpassing all the actors I had seen. But when I saw Alex for the first time, I didn't think of promoting him, but of stopping him from rising, because he looked so much like Daniel, and his acting was even more vivid and natural. Having two people who looked too similar in the entertainment industry wasn't good. I couldn't let him become Daniel's substitute. I wanted Daniel to be unique. So, Alex's existence was like a firework that needed to be extinguished before it could fully ignite. I had him sign a 10-year contract with my company, with terms that seemed to benefit him but were actually traps I set. During the occasional interactions in those 2 years, I found that Alex was indeed a good person. He was kind and polite, worked seriously and responsibly, and often stayed up late studying scripts, making every small role he played memorable. More than once, directors praised him as a good actor. The more they praised him, the greater my sense of crisis became. So I acted. Those edited videos and recordings quickly put Alex in the pillar of shame. With my manipulations, all the scripts and activities Alex had accepted were cancelled. He was very disappointed, standing on the rooftop, with the cold wind blowing. I don't know why. At that moment, I saw the shadow of Daniel from years ago. An idea arose in my mind. Daniel wouldn't be with me because of his career. But what about Alex, who looked like him? He could become his substitute, staying by my side. He could alleviate my longing for Daniel and eliminate Alex's impact on Daniel's career. 2 birds with 1 stone. So, I proposed marriage to Alex. I knew he would agree, because when he looked at me, his eyes were full of passion and sincerity. He liked me. I knew that. In the 3 years of marriage, Alex was absolutely a perfect husband. And in that marriage, I felt cherished and loved. I never got that feeling from Daniel, but I was too stupid. I thought Alex was just a substitute. Chapter 3. My assistant is very efficient and reliable. In just 3 days, she got to the bottom of it. It was indeed Daniel's assistant who did it. Caught red-handed, there was no way to deny it. The assistant frantically begged me not to call the police. Miss Liu, it was all Mr. Wang's doing. I accidentally overheard your conversation with Alex, and I knew you didn't want to divorce him. Alex also said that if you didn't divorce, he wouldn't donate his liver. I told Mr. Wang about it, and he came up with this plan. Miss Liu, for Mr. Wang's sake, you can't report me. Otherwise, Mr. Wang would be implicated in hiring someone to kill, and he wouldn't be able to get away with it. Miss Liu, you love Mr. Wang so much. As long as the liver transplant is successful, you two can be together. Why bother with the process? Does it matter? Does it matter? Those 3 short words made me think of the moment Alex pushed me away that day. It really does matter. But what should I do? Daniel and Alex. How should I choose? My assistant saw my hesitation and sighed. She took out her phone and opened the photo album. Miss Liu, maybe these photos will help you decide. In the photos, there was Daniel with 2 other men. They looked familiar. I thought for a moment and then remembered. They were the two men who tried to harass me when they were drunk, and in the photos, Daniel was handing those two men a bag of money. No need to say more. Everything was clear. I went to the hospital. Daniel looked much better. His complexion was even a bit rosy. When he saw me, he happily asked me to sit down. Willow, you've decided, right? When are we doing the surgery? You know my body can't wait much longer. Daniel seemed certain that I would choose him. I didn't respond to him. I just took out my phone and showed him the photos my assistant had sent me. Daniel's face instantly lost its last bit of color. What does this mean? I looked up at him. Daniel, don't you want to explain? Daniel looked panicked but quickly calmed down. Oh, it must be a scene from some show that got photographed. Such a clumsy lie made me frown, but my heart was very calm. These two men are the ones who tried to harass me. So, from the beginning, you were lying to me, right? From the beginning, it was all Daniel's setup. He had been scouting for a target, and I, being beautiful and wealthy, was exactly what he needed. So, he teamed up with those two thugs to stage a hero-saving the damsel act, making me fall for him. Then he climbed step by step on my shoulders, higher and higher, until he reached the top. But the higher you climb, the more exposed you become. Those two thugs were his weak point, so Daniel had to keep bribing them with money. Daniel remained silent. After a while, he flew into a rage. He smashed the items on the bedside table, fruits, medicines, scattering them all over the floor. Willow, what's the point of questioning me now? So what if I lied to you? Haven't I been good enough to you all these years? Haven't I helped you make a lot of money? I owe you nothing. I get it. You've had a change of heart, and you can't bear to let Alex die. So you're bringing up all these old matters to comfort yourself. Willow, you're despicable, disgusting. I had never seen such a crazed Daniel. In front of me, from the sunny boy to the gentle and kind emperor, he had always been kind and gentle. Now, I saw the real Daniel. Hideous. My heart sank. Daniel's vile words hurt me more than the truth did, and they made the last bit of love I had for him vanish. Daniel, to save your life, you bribed your assistant to try to kill Alex. Who is the despicable one? Daniel, at that moment, looked like a demon crawling up from hell, craving blood. His face was pale as paper, and his eyes glared at me with a fierce light as he pulled a sinister smile. It's all your fault, Willow. If you hadn't refused to divorce Alex, I wouldn't have come up with such a plan. I had already given up on living, planning to drag out my last days. It was you who told me Alex could give me a liver, that I could survive. You gave me hope, and now you want to cruelly take it away. Do you know how painful chemotherapy is? Do you know how terrifying it is to count your days? Do you know how scary it is to close your eyes, not knowing if you'll open them again? How could someone who has seen the light be willing to let go of the faint glimmer in the darkness? Willow, it's you who harmed Alex, and it's you who harmed me. I was stunned. The cold wind blowing in from the window seeped into my bones. Cold. So cold it was killing me. Chapter 4. In the end, the evidence of Daniel bribing his assistant to create an accident was handed over to the police. His assistant was arrested, and Daniel, suffering from a severe illness, was released on bail for medical treatment. However, Daniel's title of Starlight Scattered Among Mortals was ruthlessly torn down. Anonymous accounts dug up every detail of Daniel's past. He was indeed an orphan who grew up on the charity of others, but he was also a child with sticky fingers, frequently stealing from other children. His charity foundation, Come Home, was exposed for money laundering. Even more shocking were the revelations from insiders that Daniel's missing brother had actually been abandoned by him. Daniel had shown jealousy towards his brother multiple times and had even made threats to kill him. All of Daniel's good deeds were revealed as mere covers for his ugly heart. The film Starlight, starring Alex, was pulled before it could be released. My company suffered heavy losses. Due to my relationship with Daniel, I too faced online harassment and police investigation. Those who manipulate public opinion will eventually be consumed by it. Daniel and I are no exception. Chapter 5. Alex woke up 2 months later. It was just as winter arrived and everything had settled. The day he was discharged from the hospital, it started to snow. I suddenly remembered that the day I first met Alex was also a snowy day. We looked into each other's eyes, but our expressions were different. Now, after everything, our gazes met again. His was calm and indifferent, while mine was filled with deep emotion. Alex, I called his name. Thank you for saving me that day. During the time you were unconscious, I thought a lot. It was my fault before. I wronged you. You gave up your dreams to be with me. You gave me your heart, and I trampled on it again and again. If possible, I hope you can give me a chance to make amends. I didn't dare to look into his clear eyes. My voice choked more and more as I spoke, but Alex's indifference shattered my last bit of hope. We have no future together, and you will never have a chance to make amends. The moment the harm was done, it became a permanent scar. Willow, if you feel sorry for me, then agree to the divorce. Let's each live our own lives. From now on, stay away from me. Alex's voice was so cold, it pierced my heart. I could only stand helplessly in the distance. Cold snowflakes falling on my nose, gradually melting. I didn't even know if the drops on my face were melted snow or cold tears. Many times before, I spoke to him with the same cold and heartless words, not caring if he was hurt. What goes around comes around, and now it's my turn to suffer. In the end, I agreed to the divorce. After a period of recovery, Alex looked in good shape. I heard that the director of Starlight thought highly of him and decided to give him the lead role in his latest film. This director was highly regarded in the industry, and with his support, Alex would surely shine brightly in the entertainment world. He would walk the star-studded path that was always meant for him. I watched Alex's figure gradually disappear, feeling increasingly empty inside. Suddenly, he turned around. "Goodbye, Willow." Then he left without looking back. I knew this goodbye was forever. Alex no longer wanted to see me. As night fell and the stars twinkled, I finally understood that I once had true starlight. He was brilliant, bright, and shone without embellishment. But unfortunately, I lost him.